Or is there one piece, one thing that you looked at? Yeah, like something that you liked. Yeah, that painting, I like it. Why? Well, I don't know the colors. That is it. The museum did its job. If the one kid get interested just slightly by one piece, the job is done.
Before we join today's episode, I'd like to introduce you to our sponsor, the Institute for Arts Impact. If you're an arts leader looking to boost relevance, resources, and revenue, the Institute's upcoming Collaborative Arts Impact Initiative is something you should know about. This pilot program equips nonprofit arts organizations with cutting-edge tools to measure and communicate their real-time public value. Just like a CRM manages customer relationships, this customer impact management software, or CIM, manages customers' impact. Want to learn more about how to measure your organization's return on art, or ROA? Email info@instituteforartsimpact.com. Now, back to Arts Redefined. Hey there, it's Angela. As leaders in the arts, we know that culture shapes how we perceive and value art, but what can we learn from how other countries integrate art into everyday life? Today, I'm joined by Benjamin Adda, a Frenchman now living in the US, who brings a fresh perspective on the stark contrasts between how art is approached in France versus here in America. In France, art is more than just a cultural asset. It's woven into the fabric of daily life, accessible to all, and supported by the government.
Oh, yes, I'm French, born and raised in Paris, but I'm nice. And I moved to the US 2 years ago to follow my husband.
When I think of Paris, born and raised in Paris, wow. I mean, talk about living and growing up in a cultural bubble.
So yes. So France has a very different way to approach art, especially now that I live here and I see that art has a very different meaning than what I always know. So, and if you want to go there, let's go there. So, yeah, and it goes back to education, obviously. So, first of all,
You say it goes back to education?
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Like really young. So a big difference that may not matter so much actually does matter a lot. In France, when you raise kids, kids are not the priority. Kids are not the center of your world. They need to get along with your own world that you already established. Why am I saying that? Art is everywhere. And we love art by default. And we're going to go to museums, we're going to go to theaters, we're going to go to vernissage. I don't know how you call that when you open a gallery. There's a gallery in every little town. There will be an art gallery for sure. So that being said, the kid will come with you to those events. The kid will go follow you in those museums. The kid will also go with you when you change country just for the weekend. You have a lunch in London. You have a dinner in Barcelona. It's an hour away. So very young, you're going to be witnessing all this art around you. That is the first thing. The second thing is art for French people, maybe European people, is an authentic, sharp, intelligent way to express what is life. That's the way I see it. It's very essential, and it's the way you define this or that. So without art, there's no humanity. Without art, there is no civilization.
What is your definition of art?
Well, that is okay. Let me make it very simple. For me, a piece of art is takes its meaning as soon as it provokes any emotion in you. I don't know if that makes sense. But on the other hand, and this is where there is a different mindset with the US, art is so much everywhere that is not as important. So in one hand, it's essential for life. It's a need, okay? but it's so much everywhere that it takes it is like a common sense. So as a kid, you know paintings, you can recognize different style already. You can hear a song, and even if it's not your style, you'll know what it is or where it comes from or what century because it is in you. When you go to museums, the point, and this is really the problem, like when you bring a kid to a museum, the point is not for the kid to love it all. He will not, and that's okay. But at the end of the visit, where he got bored, probably 5 minutes after the entrance, is there one piece, one thing that you looked at? Oh yeah, like something that you liked. Oh yeah, that painting, I like it. Why? Well, I don't know the colors. That is it. The museum did his job. If the one kid get interested just slightly by one piece, the job is done. We're looking for curiosity. We're looking for, intrigue in a way. The kid is looking, and this is since the beginning. So growing up, I don't realize that I had that around me because it was always there. But now that I live in the US, I see the difference.
What's your background? Did you come from an artistic family? Is your background in the arts? Because you're very articulate and very specific about the role of art in life.
I am not from an artistic background. But what you're saying describe actually the vision of the European with art. For you, it's very different. For me, it's very basic. This is really how we see it. Art is everywhere. Art is a need, and art is overflowing, as it should be. Here, I feel like there's more a struggle to present it, and it's unnatural. You need to make it work to present it, to show it to the people.
Can you explain that a little bit more? Because I think that's really interesting that you, in 2 years, see that struggle. So I'm curious, from your point of view, what is that struggle? And is it the struggle with the audience, or is it the struggle with the arts presenting it?
That's a really good question. I would say there is two major things. The first thing is education. I can see that parents are not that interested in showing art to young kids because they feel like it is something that they have to do. It's work that they have to do. It's really not. It's really not. The other thing is, I believe maybe, and you please tell me if I'm wrong, the country itself, maybe the government, whatever, is not helping. Because I'm not saying you don't have as much artists that we do. That is bullshit. I'm sure that you have amazing minds as much as in Europe. It's just that it's harder here to present it. It's harder here to make it natural for the people to see art everywhere. So on the one hand, you have the education. It's not natural for parents. And then, therefore, it's not natural for the kid to be surrounded by art. He doesn't see it. He's going to see print. He's going to see TV. But what's on TV is crap. And on the other hand, you know better, is the government helping those artists? Now, is there a funding? Is there something that makes it overflowing for everybody? Artists everywhere can be really easy to present everywhere, but it's not here. And I'm curious.
Yeah, you make a great point. Again, then, because I hear repeatedly the need to make art accessible to all. And I think because that is a phrase that is repeatedly said, there are varying definitions of what that means. What does it mean to be accessible for all? And what I'm hearing you say is you grow up, and art, by the nature of being in Europe and the history, and that art is everywhere just by default, walking through your neighborhood, walking down. And here it is something that you have to make an effort to participate.
Yeah, you're right. And also there is, I believe, a stigma to it here still. In Europe, especially France, but in Europe, being an artist is beautiful. being an artist is,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? It's something that is praised, that is helped. The government helped a lot the artists, a lot. And going to a gallery, going to an opening event, a museum, soiree, whatever, is once a week. It's like basic. Where here, being an artist, some people and older people will see like, oh my God, it's gonna struggle in life.
Yeah.
It's not a question of it's true or not true. But why do you have that mindset? It doesn't matter. If it speaks with passion.
How can you just, when you talk about the government helps artists a lot, can you give me an example or,
So uh, yes, but it goes, it's all connected to education. Because like I said, like a minute ago, I would go to that event, to that day, and it's no big deal. Everybody does it in Europe. Where here, when I'm going to a theater, everybody like, oh, you're going to the theater, miss, like, okay, well, it's just a simple thing, but people see it as elevated, and it can be elevated, but it doesn't have to. It's very simple. Sometimes I feel like art is like food. It's needed, it's mandatory. It can be elevated, but it doesn't have to. Simple food is beautiful. Now, about the government and friends, because we are already in the mindset of drinking, devouring art since we're like 1 year old, it's easier for the country, for the parents, like for the kids to be interested. The entire education, we have classes dedicated to art. All the extracurriculum things related to art are free for the kid. And after, when you want to become an artist, you have a lot, I don't know the details, but you have a lot of subventions to make everything that you want be free. We have a ministry that is devoted to art. One of the ministry that we have is art, and the entire money goes to all the artists or people who claim to want to try or want to be, for example, I'm a sculptor, but I'm weak. I want to do better. I do classes. Friends will pay you to do those classes to be better. So, so it's kind of it's very hard to give you a specific. It's more the society in France is made in a way towards art by nature. So there's a lot of accessibility. It's very easy. And it's in your face. Paris has like 3 or 4 thousand museums. Like it's everywhere. And sometimes you go in, you see something, and you go out. And you don't have to do it all. It doesn't have to be a chore. You go in, you look at 2 paintings, and that can be enough for the day. Give yourself a little injection of art in any manner possible. Doesn't have to be the entire museum.
we talk about art breaking down barriers, art bridging culture, communities, art, the ultimate form of expression. And so if you grow up with that around you, where it's in your nature, in your core, you're exposed to a wide
Yes.
variety.
And there is more fluidity.
Great. Yes.
You know, so you can complete in France to go tell your parents, I don't know if I want to be a lawyer or if I want to be an artist. And that's okay. So yes, of course, there's always like, okay, being a lawyer is better because, it's more safe, it's more stable. Yes, of course. But it doesn't mean that the parent will push to that direction. When I was younger, I wanted to work in cinema, not as a comedian, but more as a director. And it was either this or medicine, because my dad and mother, they're all in the hospital, like they are doctors and everything. But my dad was like, no, if you want to do cinema, let's do it. It did not block me at all. I was lucky, but it's also the mindset that you find in France. So everything is a bit more fluid. We don't have to put everything in a box just to understand the definition better. I think that's a big mistake that Americans do. And it's the same reason with race. When you look at race in the US, it feels like that's the only thing that matters. Where in France, it's going to be more race is one of the definitions you have of yourself, but you're not defined by the color of your skin. It's not only that, it cannot be only that. It's about culture. Where are you from? What is your country? What did you do when you were a child? What is the history of your country? That is what is important in France. We don't care about like the level of blackness or brownness. No, it is important. We don't not see it. We see it, but it's not enough to define your character. And it's the same with the art. It's more fluid. It's more, nuance.
Is there anything pertaining to arts and culture in the United States that shocked you, that surprised you, either good or bad?
Um, I yes, art is younger, but it's beautiful. And I go to some museum, and art doesn't have to be at the museum. It can be at the antique show. Doesn't matter. It's everywhere. I like it very much. I'm just surprised that it's not as prominent. I really thought that it would be more on your face, in your face, but it's not. It's it's just too bad that it's not as accessible. It feels like you need to be in the elite to go to see and trend that, and that's a field that is new to me.
So, what advice would you give Americans, public officials, in changing that? Because there is that feeling that the arts in the United States are for rich, white, old people. And the notion that art is essential gets, shrugged shoulders.
So, and that's interesting because we're not asking your opinion of is art essential. Art is essential. You can dismiss it, right? Maybe you don't want to deal with it, but it is essential. It is a need. It is what makes us a civilization. Human, that's what it is. So you want to dismiss it, it will not remove the problem. What I would do, I don't know, what I would say to officials, you said something interesting. You said like art here is more for the elite, like white, older people, which is the exact opposite in France. Like when you go to those shows, you're going to actually see less old, white, rich people. So I didn't know that. I'm just learning something. And about I don't know, it's more your business than mine, or how to present art better. It's about the education for me. About the education, making a lot of programs free that not only are free, also you will learn something because art is also learning the history of what you want to do in art. And then after, the government needs to like, okay, we pay for your classes, you learn something and you have an actual official degree, something that you can work with, not just a paper saying that I completed 20 classes. No, something that have a weight on the professional market. And then the country is here to say, now that you have this, these are all the jobs that you could do, and we're going to help you going there. So it's all about, the path that is made for you. So in France, that's what it is. You start with education, so you're aware of it. And then you want to focus, and then you're going to have those classes that's going to give you an actual official diploma, degree, whatever you call it, that will open doors. And then France will partner with you, literally, like you go to those meetings and you talk to that one-on-one, and they're really going to fight for you to find a job with the diploma, or help you having your own company or doing your own stuff, or just pay you monthly so you can do art. You need to do all of it. If you remove one of those, it's over.
Public officials have no clue what jobs are in the arts. So when you don't have any idea, there is no way to help those to say, now you have a degree, here are all the opportunities. What I do is, here are all the opportunities, but they're not being supported. And really, because you have no idea all of these opportunities. And if these opportunities go away because of lack of funding or lack of understanding or lack of individuals getting degrees in the arts in that way, that will erode and go away.
And that's sad because if you, like we were talking about that path, if it's not all the way, then it's broken. If it's broken, kids won't go there. If kid doesn't go there, art get lost. And this is why it really needs, you need to make an effort in making sure that you hold the hand of that kid, telling him that what you feel is right, you can express it. We're going to show you how. It's going to give you something that matters, and here's you're going to use it to the world. You see?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say that in the United States, you're required to take all these classes to graduate. You're required to take physical education. You're required to take mathematics. You're required to do these things, but not everyone's going to be an athlete. Not everyone's going to be a mathematician. Not every, right? But you're not required to take art. And the opposite is it's very minimal offerings.
And it's not the same work because, like we said, because art is overflowing in Europe, the government don't really have at the beginning to force itself, like to force the art on us because it's already there. You just need to make sure that there's that bridge after the high school, to push the kid towards art. That yes, France is here for that, but they don't have here because there's not art to begin with. It's up for the parents or the government to actually kind of like force it down their throat because it's nowhere.
Well,
In the window, I should see naturally something artistic. I don't, and that's wrong.
there is no shoving it down throats because those that would do that don't care or think that it's essential or understand the value of art.
And what your job is to try to make them understand what is the value and how crucial it is.
Yes, it's a daily challenge.
I wish that the US had more to offer because the only time I really saw art here and there as I was in Europe would be in the really big cities. But you still have, it's a struggle still for those people. You really have to fight for yourself to be, to staging your art. They need visibility, they need accessibility, but the gallery to the people to the gallery. All this is all linked together, and you don't do it halfway with art. It's you go all the way, or you accept that it's not essential, and that would be a big mistake because how do you deal? How are they dealing with emotions, frustration, anger, love? All of those things is the primer matter for art, and for the kids, it's very important to express that. And they don't, and this is important, especially in the society today when we see kids that doing crazy things because they are frustrated, they don't understand the world. Art is the best way, to kind of vehicle all of this into one channel that is comprehensible. And there is nothing of this here.
Go back to your earlier comment where you said it feels forced here. And I asked the art, yeah, and I asked which part from the audience or from the organizations. I guess is the forced feeling exactly what you described, that you have to make a point to participate in it, and if you don't, it's not.
It's not there. Art is not part of the city. We're going to make it clear. It's not like Europe here. Art is not around us. Art does exist, but it needs to push its way out of that little bubble so the outsiders can see it. From my point of view, it is weak. It is weak. I'm not gonna lie, it is extremely weak compared to what I've known, especially the mentality. Each time I go to the museum or I buy a piece of art, I just bought a painting last week. Everybody's like, "Ooh, okay, Mister is buying painting." I mean, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I like it. It expressed something in me, and I wanted to buy it. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe we need to. Maybe art is demonized in a certain way here, and we need to make it in a way that it's not because it's very personal and beautiful, and that it has to be elevated. It's simple. Make it simple. Make it I don't know. That's the way I see it. It's not complicated. It's simple. It's like food.
Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome. Thank you, Angela.
It was lovely seeing you.
I really love this conversation. Thank you.